So to pick up where we left off with Dionysius and the divine names, page 82. This is really something very rare within the tradition of Catholic theology, where we see a theologian referring to God in Greek both as eros and agape. Again, agape is much more frequent. It is the word for love in the New Testament. But eros, we might wonder, isn't this dangerous? Erotic desire, does it not become lustful desire? We read Pope Benedict XVI in his first encyclical of 2005, Deus Caritas Est, about the interplay between eros and agape. For the fullness of love, both of these are meant to be working together, both yearning and self-giving, both eros and agape. So this passage on page 82, the section 14, I'll just read and say some things about this. Why is it, Dionysius writes, that theologians sometimes refer to God as yearning and love, and sometimes as the yearned for and the beloved? On the one hand, he causes, produces, and generates what is being referred to, and on the other hand, he is the thing itself. He is stirred by it, and he stirs it. He is moved to it, and he moves it. So they call him the beloved and the yearned for, since he is beautiful and good. And again, they call him yearning and love. So those are the two Greek words there in the original text of Dionysius. They call him eros and agape, yearning and love, because he is the power moving and lifting all things up to himself. For in the end, what is he if not beauty and goodness, the one who of himself reveals himself, the good procession of his own transcendent unity? So very rich theology here, very rich theology. We could say that a love without eros could become kind of dry and anonymous, like loving just for the sake of loving, according to the theory of love or something. But eros without agape then could move toward a kind of disordered desire, lustful desire, without self-mastery, without the fullness of virtue. So both eros and agape must work together, and this is how we should understand divine love. So this we could even see as at least a layer in the development of doctrine, understanding divine love not only as agape, but also as eros, both of these together. They must work together for this to be true, authentic love. Okay, so just two more passages and we'll wrap up this video and a short commentary on Dionysius. Page 84 begins a rather protracted, extensive discourse on the question of evil. The question of evil. Again, how can there be evil if God is goodness itself? Where does this evil come from? And what is evil? So Dionysius spends quite a bit of time thinking about this, pondering it. And this is one of the best treatments I've ever seen in all the things I've read within the tradition of Christian theology and philosophy about how to make sense of evil if God is nothing but goodness. So just to sum up some points, toward the bottom of page 84, evil does not come from the good. So we might wonder, where does evil come from, if not the good, if not from God? So we read further, if everything comes from the good, and the good naturally gives being and maintains, just as evil naturally tries to corrupt and to destroy, then no being comes from evil. So we can't attribute anything to evil. Further, evil is not a being. It has a greater non-existence and otherness from the good than non-being has. Wow, that's saying a lot. So you can read this. I hope everyone gets a chance to read this in full. It's very beneficial, very rewarding for us to understand evil. A lot of people who claim to be atheists, their biggest argument is this question. Is this question about how can there be evil? How can there be tragedy and trauma and just devastating things that happen to innocent people, especially, who seem to be quite innocent, especially children, for example. How can all this happen if God is goodness itself? A lot of people refuse to believe in God. That doesn't make sense to them. But Dionysius helps us understand the mystery of evil and suffering in light of the mystery of the goodness of God. And page 93, he sums up what he's talking about here. Even before that, page 91, toward the top, the way he describes evil in terms of lack, weakness, deviation, deprivation, privation, imperfection, powerlessness, lapse, abandonment, rejection, deficiency, falling away, falling short. So for Dionysius, evil is not a being. It doesn't have being. It's not some force opposed to the goodness of God. Evil simply describes the deprivation of good, the deprivation of the goodness of God. And it's when beings move further from God, this is what we describe as evil. So it's a very particular definition here. It's not just when things go wrong, when things go bad in some way, but it is to say that evil, as we experience evil per se, is related to the free will of us personal spiritual beings, angels and humans within creation, who choose to turn away from God. And this brings in fallenness of our being. So then on page 93, the last point I want to make here in this video, when goodness is perfect in a situation, then evil disappears. To sum up, good comes from the one universal cause, and evil originates in numerous partial deficiencies. God knows evil under the form of good, and with him the causes of evil things are capacities which can produce good. So this is a thing that all of the great theologians agree about, that God would not permit evil unless God could bring a greater good from it, in the wake of it. That's the only way we can understand God permitting evil. Think of the story of Job, the classic narrative of Job in Scripture. It's not God who causes destruction, devastation, or deprivation. It is rather Satan, the demons. They subtract from being, from moral goodness, from truth, through their deception, through their lies. They're the ones who lead the way of the subtraction, the deprivation. And we can follow suit as human beings. This is the choice before us. Even Moses says in Deuteronomy, toward the end of the book of Deuteronomy, that God says, "See, I've set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Choose life that you and your descendants may live." So, such a rich section, Dionysius' Discourse on Evil. And thank you for watching this video. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the discussion board. This is some of the best theology. So rich, so wonderful, such substance here. I really look forward to hearing what you have to say about it.